All right, and we are now set up with one of my favorite games of all time, one of the best soundtracks of all time, and we get a whole hour and 45 minutes, or a little bit less, depending on the timing of it, with Pokemon trading card game for the Game Boy Color. Toronite will be coming on very soon with that run. However, in the meantime, let me tell you a little bit about who we are and what we're doing here. Because, as a reminder, this is Complete-a-thon 2024, but you might notice on the Twitch channel that this is actually the No Glitches Allowed Twitch channel, because several members of the Complete-a-thon team also work on staff for No Glitches Allowed. So, if you want to learn more about Complete-a-thon or all of the marathons we have coming up, just like how we have this Pokemon trading card game run coming up, feel free to check out the No Glitches Allowed Twitter and continue following us here on Twitch. All right, we are fully set up now for this Pokemon trading card game run, so I'm going to hand the mic and the screen over to Toronite. With that run, let's take it away.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Pokemon TCG, a beloved game from the Game Boy Color era back in 1998, where, as the name explains it, it is a Pokemon trading card game, but in a video game form. What? This is going to be a new category that has only debuted just a few months ago. And joining me here is, first of all, the lovely Stump. How are you doing?
Hello. Doing good. Ready for more commentary.
You've been a busy commentator today. And also joining us is Nervy. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good, and I am very excited to see this game. I've always kind of wondered if they were ever going to make a game based on the trading card game. I didn't know this game existed, so I'm very excited to see how this all plays out. Like I said, I've always wondered if a game like this existed.
All right, and with that, we will, in just a second, begin time. First, put our names. I think this is maybe the best 6-character abbreviation of complete. So I think that's about as good or you know what, not complete, complete-a-thon. So let's probably go for, yeah. The name, the number of characters in the name don't really matter a whole lot, but now that we are actually about to start, so everybody else is ready, I'm ready to give a countdown. And we will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so Pokemon TCG. Some of you may know what the card game looks like nowadays. Some of you may not know what the card game may have looked like back in 1998. This is a video game version based off the 1998 version of the game, which only has the first 3 sets of the game up to this point. Base set, Fossil, and Jungle. A little over 200 cards released up to this point in the game. And this game, if you've only ever experienced Pokemon through the RPG, through the mainline games, it's a little different in a few things. One of the biggest things that is a difference between the card game and the video game, even from 1998 and Gen 1, is the fact that types are actually been really abridged in this case. So there's only 7 types in this game: fire, water, grass, lightning, fighting, psychic, and colorless. Colorless is just of an umbrella term for normal and flying type Pokemon. So now we're actually going to go through this first tutorial practice, because it is an 8-minute tutorial, but it gives us ample time to kind of explain the run and explain the game in general. And while I focus on this, because if you mess up one input in the tutorial, you're gonna have to restart the whole turn, and the dialogue is very slow. Trust me, it will not be that slow throughout the rest of the run, but for the sake of having a chance to explain everything, I will just leave it off to Stump.
All right, so, well, here we are in the setup for a round of the game, and well, we'll see this later, but It handles hands without basics slightly differently, but yeah, we'll get to that later. The this is putting us through all of the usual stuff in how the game was then, attaching an energy card per turn, putting, placing Pokemon, evolving them, which will come up in a bit, and trainers and things like that. This is going to get, this is a set deck for the tutorial purposes, but we'll get booster packs from other battles we do after this and improve it and use some Pokemon that are, work very, very well in particular situations.
So yeah, so the name of the game and the objective of Pokemon TCG is, so we have prize cards, and those prize cards are our main objective of winning. Every time we knock out a Pokemon, we collect a prize card. First, you collect all of their prize card wins, or if you knock out all of your opponent's Pokemon that are placed on the field before before you get your final prize card, you win automatically. So that's actually the primary, or at least the intended way of how we want to play the speedrun, is because we want, if we go through prizes and go the intended way, it's going to take an eternity, and you'll see that actually right now. By the way, hope you're enjoying the battle animations. This will be the only time you actually see them. You will not see the battle animations for the rest of the run, because they are slow. They will... Stop. What would you say? Would you say it would double the amount of time it will take to actually complete this run?
Almost, if not quite. But there's another bit of slowness in this particular part due to the text. You can set instant text, but you don't have access to the menu in which to do that until you complete this tutorial.
Yeah, it's not like the original Pokemon where, or actually I don't know if original Pokemon Red and Blue had this the ability to do so, but I know in, like, for example, like Gen 3 at least onwards, you could do that from the start menu. So fortunately, we're not quite there yet in terms of being able to set the menu or set the text speed to instantaneous. Don't worry, we will get to that very, very soon.
So,
well, even back in Gen 1,
go ahead.
What were you saying? Even back in Gen 1, for the mainline games, you still could change the text speed before you start the game.
Ah, I see.
But they didn't think to do that in this game.
So,
Oh no, go ahead.
So, given that you said that the types were kind of pared down, I think you said there was only 7.
Yes.
I'm imagining that the usual, like, fire weak against water but strong against grass, that all holds here, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Yes and no. So type matchups, for the most part, do function kind of the same way. However, the type matchups are no longer based on, okay, all fire Pokemon are weak to water, all grass Pokemon are weak to fire. Every Pokemon has their own individual weakness. Most of them are, because there's no such thing as having multiple weaknesses in this game. So in the card game, they basically have to pick one. So for example, Staryu is weak to lightning. By the way, electric in this game is called lightning. So if you hear me say that, that's what I'm referring to. But Staryu's not weak to grass in this game, so it's only weak to lightning. And part of the deal with this game is, especially in a speedrun setting, is knowing ahead of time what your opponent is playing and what is their specific weakness. Because sometimes some weaknesses don't make sense. My favorite one is Gyarados is quad weak to electric in the regular games. His weakness is grass in this game, so I don't know how to explain that one. So sometimes logic doesn't make sense.
Okay, so like a huge part of this run then is like each Pokemon that can be thrown at you. Is the Pokemon that can be thrown at you per battle RNG? Like, is it random?
Oh, every opponent has a set deck, but what they draw from it is random.
Got you. So there's got to be like an incredible amount of game knowledge just to like navigate these different battles. Then, like based on like whatever configuration of Pokemon that get thrown at you for each deck. I mean, same Pokemon, but like different order coming out. So like, I imagine adapting is like a huge part of this run.
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing, especially with this category, which we haven't spoken too much about, but all battles is as it says, you have to win every single fight in the game, including the optional ones. Now, the way this category is worded rules-wise is you have to beat every single unique deck in the game. And the reason why I worded that way is for 3 specific NPCs that we will encounter throughout the run, and I'll explain why they're oh wait, no, Charmander is not the star. By the way, starter decks, Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, we will go with Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur has, in my opinion, the best starting content in the speedrun setting. Charmander was for a long time the most popular category, but it would but as Pinecone 606 has shown throughout the back in the like 20s and yeah, in like 2020, we actually are going to it is a fantastic starter deck. So I'm actually going to do a bit of mail manipulation, a little trick that we try to RNG our way to get a really good card from the very start. And we're gonna be silent for a second. Let's see if we get it. And not quite. I'll give it 1 or 2 more goes. So there's 4 booster packs in this game: Coliseum, Mystery, Laboratory, and Evolution. Coliseum is the best booster pack in the entire game because because it has almost every single card we would want in a speed run. So now let's see tab number 2, and wow, actually the very same.
I didn't see what that was.
It was a
Did you
item
get the
finder.
same pack?
I believe I did. So I'll give it 1 more go. It's not necessary to for the speed run, but I was like showing it off. This one it is a riskier strat because it's basically a frame perfect trick. It's 7 frames in a 10 frame window.
Of 60 hertz frames, by the way.
There we go. There we go. Perfect.
Wow.
Awesome.
All right.
So you had to literally hit that at the perfect time.
Yeah. So the funny thing about this trick, so this was called mail manipulation. The cool thing about doing that is that the very first booster pack that you get for free when you start a game is Coliseum. It has so many of the best cards in the game: Hitmonchan, Electabuzz, Scyther, Computer Search, which is one of the most overpowered cards in the game. You discard 2, and you are able to search for any card you want in the deck and add it to your hand. And as you saw just now, Duck Trio, which will actually be our win condition for the end game and certain portions of the mid game. So I am very fortunate to get a second Duck Trio. We start out with 1 Duck Trio, but having 1 Duck Trio for the entire run is extremely risky. Hopefully we'll get more Duck Trios as we go through the entire game. But now we are just setting up our deck, and you're not mistaken. Yes, we are only battling with 1 Pokemon, Hitmonchan, because Hitmonchan has 70 HP, which is a lot starting out, and hits hard and can win us a lot of fights in the early going. We just need to hope to get the proper fights, and that is not one. That's another thing in the TCG in the speedrun. There's some, even though Hitmonchan is the optimal play, some of these early fights has us go through dealing with Pokemon that resist fighting, and thankfully resetting is very, very quick, and thankfully we are able to reset a fight if we get bad RNG, like going up against a Doduo, which resists fighting. And anytime we see anything like that, especially in early going, just no, we're not even gonna attempt to do anything with that Doduo. So hopefully we don't have to encounter it next turn. And that is perfect. That is a free win.
Very
And
nice.
So your deck literally has one Pokemon in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and trust
We're-
me, it will not. Trust me, this will be a somewhat common thing for at least in the early portion.
Yeah. And this is exploiting, well, a slight difference between the rules implemented in this game and what the actual game rules were. This game did not implement the option of the opponent drawing 2 cards if you don't draw a basic in your opening hand. So we can just only put the basic we want in our deck, and that'll be our opener.
Yeah, and also, unlike in the video game, you can't exactly tell your opponent, "Hold on, I want to reset. I don't like this matchup, so we're gonna have to reshuffle and restart the whole fight. I don't like. I might lose this one. Can we start over again?" That's essentially what we are doing throughout the run, restarting a fight until we know for a fact, "Oh yeah, we can win this one, no problem." So the route that we are taking is one that essentially gives us Coliseum booster packs very early on. As I mentioned, they are the best booster packs in the game. First 2 fights gives or every fight gives us 2 of the same booster packs, and we actually kind of got really bad RNG with the contents of those first 2 fights, but we have plenty of chances to go for them.
So these booster packs, how exactly are they used? So your deck currently only has 1 Pokemon in it. So how these booster packs fit in here?
So for the most part, what we'll do is these booster packs will be a. I have to read. Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, do I want to risk it? If we get a plus power, which adds 10 more damage, we will win. Oh wow! Actually, very lucky I didn't reset. Actually, this is. Wow, that was actually pretty bad RNG from the for the opponent. Still a bit of a precarious situation, but we are fine. But yes, in terms of the RNG, so the way the I'm sorry, with the booster packs. So the booster packs, they will we get 2 of them, and depending on the opponent, it'll decide whether or not am I. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna have to restart. We had another potion. We could have won, but Michael's one of the hardest fights in the game, especially early on, but he does give us some good booster packs. So every booster pack, depending on the opponent, it'll give you one of the 4 booster packs that I mentioned. But inside of those booster packs, they will also give you, there's also like special types. So if you look like inside the code of the game, every booster pack has like a typing attached to it. And that alters a little bit what type of or the probabilities of getting certain cards are. If I remember correctly, every booster pack, the contents are separated into 4 groups, partially due to rarity. And beautiful, we got a second Hitmonchan. That's good news.
Nice.
That is good news, especially when we're gonna enter the next couple of fights. And we are mainly focusing on the rare card that we want to try to acquire. And that rare card is usually the very first card that shows up. So the portrait that you see at the bottom of the screen, that's the quote-unquote rare card that you'll see. And that's usually the card that we want will show either Hitmonchan or Electabuzz or Scyther. So let's see. Do I have enough for a 1-turn win? I don't. This could be a very sticky situation because this opponent, Jennifer, she has an all Pikachu deck. And you would think, okay, just spam fighting types. That's great. But unfortunately, she has one variant of Pikachu where it is called a flying Pikachu. And wow, she is really loading up her bench, which is completely fine. That flying Pikachu resists fighting, and that is her one and only counter to Pikachu's main weakness to fighting. But thankfully, we have not seen it, so we are actually good for now. All right, perfect. We got this one.
I have to admire how insanely fast you're doing these inputs.
It's funny because it was never always this fast, but it's all about you basically get that with practice and muscle memory. And I was like astonished by some of the top runners in this category, like AJ or Welsh or Pinecone, by how fast they played the game. That is a 3 versus 1. I do not want that, so we're gonna try to see if we can get something better. So while we are this fight and the next fight. Okay. I was worried that was going to be a Zapdos on the bench, which would have meant a restart. But this could still be potentially problematic if we don't have a way to escape paralysis. But it's not the end of the world. But this fight and the next one, it's going to be more lightning and then the potential odd Geodude or Coughing, so nothing really extravagant about this. These fights are basically meant to be so some bosses require us to fight their trainers before we are allowed to actually challenge them, and so that's what we are essentially doing with this portion, beating all of the trainers in the Lightning Club in order to actually get to actually have the right to challenge this gentleman at the very top of the screen, Isaac. So while we're dealing with Nicholas, he's one of the easiest fights in the game. If there's anything to be read, now would be a pretty good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. So the biggest thing is that right now we have an incentive open, and I want to let everyone know about this incredibly cool incentive because it is for another Pokemon game that we have coming up tomorrow, a couple of hours into the marathon. So tomorrow, Iron is going to be running Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, and they'll be going for the diploma percent effectively and getting everything needed for the diploma. But one thing that's optional that we have on the table for them to add to that run is to catch Mew. Yes, the Mew, that Mew, the 151st Pokemon, Mew. And so if we can hit a milestone of $1,510 raised before the end of that run, then we'll see Iron catch Mew. So get those donations in, ! Donate if you want to help us meet that incentive and see that extra catch and see that very, very special Pokemon make a lovely appearance in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. We are at $1,050.77 raised, so that means that we are just over $400 away from hitting that milestone. So get those donations in, help us out. That would be amazing. And as a reminder, all of those donations go to the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund. So you're also helping out an incredible cause there.
All right. Now we are basically going to go. We actually have the right to challenge Isaac, the leader of the Lightning Club. We're just going to hold off on that for a little while because now we are actually going to do a very special fight in this game. It is this will be the one and only instance that we will be doing a hybrid deck. And the reason why is because of this lovely lady by the name of Amanda. Amanda of the Water Club, her ace is either, depending on how you look at it, either a Wigglytuff or a Scyther. Yeah, sure. Explain to me how that's the ace of a Water Club trainer, and wow, we are seeing both of them. Let's see. Don't like this matchup. Might be the one and only instance in a marathon run where I opt to do a hybrid deck because the thing with Scyther is it also resists fighting. And the thing with fighting is that's Hitmonchan's specialty. So it will lose the 1 versus 1 matchup all of the time. But we use Charmander as a solution. Now the problem is she does have water Pokemon in Poliwag, and in a lot of instances, Poliwag will beat Charmander potentially. And so now we have to bring in the Hitmonchan as a solution to the Poliwag. So you're just essentially figuring out one way or the other. Okay, it's a tale of two battles. Getting the right Pokemon in the opening hand and getting the right matchup. Because if you get Poliwag in Charmander, you might lose that one. But if you get Scyther and Hitmonchan, then you might also lose that one. But if you get Charmander versus Scyther, you're actually gonna more likely win that one. And thankfully, we went through that fight relatively unscathed, if I'm being perfectly honest. That was relatively painless. That was less than 2 minutes, which is actually a great time for Amanda, especially on a marathon run. So we're just gonna go back into our Hitmonchan only deck, and this will actually be the last time you see Hitmonchan for a while, because after this fight, we will now start to get into the fights that are introduced in all battles. So the cool thing about all battles is that you get to experience a lot of decks that you normally wouldn't have the opportunity to see in a normal speed run. Some of them are pretty fascinating to look at. Some of them are quite annoying, but everything's kind of tailor-made for a speed run. And a lot of this, what makes this category so cool is the fact that it requires a lot of research. And so if figuring out a route that can be a winning route for a good time at a marathon or any speed run of all battles, that is pretty major. So you have to sort of think outside the box with some of the fights that we have to start with, that we have to think about now. And for now, and we got through Chris. Was the last opponent that we needed to face before having the right to challenge for the fighting club, but we will deal with him much later down the line. The opponents that we were supposed to fight in order to do that is Jessica, the very first fight of the game, Michael, the one that was very annoying, and Chris just now. Do I have double colorless in it? Perfect. Okay. So this so there's two ways to go about this fight, and this is Matthew. Matthew, the best way I can describe is he is a poor man's version of the gym leader in terms of constructing a deck, Gene. A lot of Pokemon with the ability to... Ooh, perfect. This goes well. If he doesn't add anything to the bench, he adds something to the bench, of course. This game still there's a lot of karma in terms of, like, oh, things are going well. Yeah, gotta introduce a good little wrench into things, but this is actually this is actually almost a gold split. Matthew is one of the more annoying fights in this category, but thankfully we got a Nidorino, which is perfect for this segment where we're just gonna clear the entire rock gym, or rock club, as this game likes to say. Nidorino can basically one-shot almost everything in here. But we also have another solution in Scyther if we happen to draw Scyther, which unfortunately we did not. And thankfully, we're actually getting some really good starting hands in this Rock Club segment, because it can be potentially deadly if we are not careful. Now, we're essentially just biding our time and just kind of making sure that our deck... Ooh, there's the Rhyhorn. And we don't want to see Rhydon. So thankfully, we have Gust of Wind, which basically blows away whatever your opponent's lead is, and just go out and... Okay, this could be problematic. Ooh, this is...
Dear.
Okay. Let's see. Heart of the cards? Okay. If we are lucky and we get no coin flips, landing heads, that's one. That's two. Okay, we're good. Wow, that was very fortunate. So yeah, Nidorino is weak to Psychic, and thankfully we were not knocked out by Jinx. So the way in this game, the way the weaknesses work is whatever base damage comes out before you applying weakness, you double it. So basically 10 damage becomes 20, 20 becomes 40, 30 becomes 60, etc, etc, etc. And when it comes to resistances, is whatever the final number of damage results in, you subtract 30. So if you do damage an attack that does 30 damage, but it resists, then it will be turned to 0. If you do 40, it'll do 10. 50, 20, you know the drill. And so we got very fortunate that Jinx did not beat us. Because, oh boy, that could have been... That would have necessitated a restart. We're just going to see if things go well. Perfect. What does he have in the video? Oh, it's a fossil. Okay, this is actually going extremely well in terms of the Rock Club segment. I don't know, so I accidentally did a missed input. I meant to go for Horn Drill instead of, what's the attack? Double kick, and thankfully it still did an attack, so thankfully we were able to get that win. Now comes the first boss fight of the game. Jean is the only only boss in this game where you can fight from the very beginning. And of course, this being all battles, we're basically going through all of his underlings before we get there. Now, we don't have to do it before, but it helps in terms of clearing everything out in a nice order. So now it's really essentially a waiting game in trying to see if I can get the need Reno out, and this has been going. Ooh, this has not been going well. I might have to restart unless. What did that? Okay, that the trio can do at most. Okay, let's see. At most, that the trio can do 40 damage with what it currently has. This is still not a great situation that we are in. Okay, no, we win.
Right.
So the AI... So this is a neat little quirk with the AI. Most times, when a Pokemon is brought out, or whenever a Pokemon is essentially in KO range, like 100% sure it's gonna get KO'd next turn, the AI will instead opt in to start kind of setting up the bench if they have the resources to do so. In this case, he didn't have anything else to kind of add on to the bench. And even if he did had a fighting energy to even try and attack me, more likely he actually would not add it on. Even though it would actually make sense, the AI is most of the time programmed to just go into self-preservation mode, just work on the next Pokemon and just figure things out in the future, even though it may not make a whole ton of sense. So that was our first gym, or in this game they're called clubs, but I still like to refer to them as gym. If you see me call them like gym or a club, that's essentially what I'm referring to.
So these gym leaders, or I guess club leaders in this case, are they like more predictable or less predictable than like your standard fair enemy? Like, do they act more siloed, if that makes sense?
It depends. So if you kind of notice, I'm actually gonna reset this fight. This is actually not a good start. So if you notice with Jean, for like the first like 5 or 6 turns, I barely actually even attempted to attack, because Rhyhorn had an attack called Leer, and I can't, with science, prove that the RNG is weighted in the opponent's favor when it comes to the boss fights. But I cannot tell you all the horror stories I've experienced and from opponent and from other runners about how unpredictable the AI can be. Like, they can just constantly top deck a big card that just doesn't win you the fight. This is a really bad Joseph fight, huh? That it doesn't win the AI the fight. It just extends the fight by another couple of turns. And that's that's the real annoying part, is when you have the win in the bag, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're extending the fight for another turn, even though victory is essentially assured. There are also, if you play this game enough times with the bosses, there's a few tendencies you will notice. Our next boss is going to be Amy of the Water Club. Actually, I'm gonna go for... Okay. I'm going to reset not the fight, but the turn. And that's the one of the cool things about the about this game is that you have the ability to soft reset and in the middle of a duel, and it will actually reset the actual turn, because it will which is a neat little quirk. If you make like a missed input or anything of the sorts, then you're able to soft reset the game super quickly, and you're able to very easily just retry that again, if that ends up being the case. But back to what I was saying with our next boss fight, which is going to be Amy. A lot of times I have noticed if you go first in that fight, you're very likely going to see that the opponent will have a potion which heals 20 HP, or energy removal, which removes one energy card from the opponent. So a lot of times, you start to pick up some tendencies, but because of the fact that boss fights are 6 prices deep, it does introduce more turns, meaning that there's a bigger chance of RNG kind of playing a big factor. But thankfully, it's not something to where a fight is going to take an eternity, or a fight is unwinnable. It just takes a lot of... sometimes it may take like an extra reset or two just to be able to figure things out.
And the club masters do have often have pretty good decks anyway, but they also, well, the AI, there are some portions of it that are active or inactive depending on the opponent. So a lot of the club masters are tougher in that. But also, there is another small factor specifically with Clubmaster and the duels in the Dome also, which is that the game does cheat slightly for them. It makes sure that their opening hand will have at least 2 basics in it.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. So yeah, if you notice, basic Pokemon are essentially Pokemon you can just freely put out onto the field, no problem. Now, when it comes to evolutions are called stage 1, like if it evolves for the first time, it's a stage 1. If it evolves again, like for example, like Blastoise or something, that's considered a stage 2. But yeah, so every boss in the game, they are literally programmed. Actually, I'm going to stop my point real quick because I want to see if I can do this. Never mind. It was an attempt at RNG manipulation that didn't quite work, but that is fine. But yeah, so every boss in the game is programmed to have at least 2 basics in their opening hand, no matter what. So you will never see a scenario where you will encounter a 1 versus 1 against a boss. Except once we get to the Pokemon Dome, it could be a slightly different story, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Because even though you could see a 1 versus 1, that doesn't mean they have 1 basic. They're just they're hiding that second basic for a very specific purpose. So, okay, here comes our next boss fight, Amy. Her deal is essentially trying to use a lot of high HP water Pokemon and Pokemon such as Horsey to kind of make things very annoying for us. So Horsey has the move. All right. Actually, no. I'm actually going to waste this coin flip so that I can have a better chance at a heads next turn. Horsey has a move called Smokescreen where if you have where you do 10 damage, and your opponent next turn has to flip a coin if they even want to attack. And if it lands heads, the attack goes through. If the coin flip lands tails, the turn is automatically over, which is kind of a overpowered ability, or overpowered secondary effect. Just being able to do that is so incredibly annoying. But thankfully, we actually got through this fight very, very quickly. We didn't see Sea King, we didn't see War Turtle or Lapras. I'm very fortunate to get that good. That was a good... The 2 boss fights we've had up to this point have been very fortunate. Very good RNG. Just some of the non-boss fights have been particularly tricky. But now that we have 2 metals, we're actually going to encounter our rival. And you may have noticed him at the very beginning of the run when we went to talk to Mitch for the first time. And now we are actually going to duel him. Actually, wait, there is I forgot to take these 4 cards there. Now the deck is set. So in a normal speedrun, the any percent glitchless run, we actually lose this fight on purpose because it is much faster to lose the fight on purpose than to win it. But this category is different. This category has us actually attempt to win these fights, and kind of goes to show, you might notice that these fights, that Ronald is not very good at constructing a deck. First of all, you kind of notice very quickly in his bench, he has a Growlithe. He has a Squirtle, a Growlithe, and a Seal so far. And he has more where that came from. Am I in trouble? No, I am not. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. So I'm actually... So the cool thing about this is that...
Oh.
So I use Pokeball to be able to... I use Pokeball. I was originally... It allows us to search for any Pokemon and add it to our hand. I was originally going to... The coin flip landed, and we were actually about to just get the trio, but the way they have the decks formatted when you actually get a searching ability going off is that the next cards, they will appear on top. And I saw that we had the trio already with a couple of really good trainer cards, such as Defender, which basically gives us like a 20 HP shield for the next turn. And I just reset it because the decks are not random when you're doing this. So if you reset, boom, you're able to actually get to the you're able to use Professor Oak, which basically discards your entire hand and draw 7. And we beat this fight relatively easily. That was like a little over 2 minutes. I'm pretty content with that. So now we're finally dueling Isaac, and so this fight is quite unique in the sense that it's unique in the sense that, oh wait, no, that's not where we want to go. Ooh, Magnemite. Kind of want to deal with don't want to deal with Magnemite. So the deal with Isaac is that he's got a bunch of Pokemon that all they do is just paralyze you. And also Kangaskhan for drawing power and getting a Pokemon and getting Tauros out. Which, for the most part, you know, you're going to be fine. There's hardly anything, even with a Diglett, doesn't have to worry about, for the most part, this deck. Normally, there is technically a faster way to go through this fight, and that is simply to use a Hitmonchan, which I could have done at the very start of the run, but it's a very high-risk, high-reward situation because Diglett is weak. Diglett resists fighting. Let's see. Okay, let's go full heal just in case. I have Pokeball. We get Diglett. Yep. The trio. So Diglett resists lightning, but Hitmonchan doesn't. So it's basically kind of a bit of an interesting situation of you could go for the potentially faster strat in Hitmonchan, but what comes first? Do you get the win, or does Hitmonchan get knocked out? At least with Diglett, it's safe and still potentially really fast in the sense of, hey, Diglett is almost untouchable. It's just a matter until we get the trio out and we win. So that's now, by my count, 3 bosses, 3 of the medals done with in this game. And we're just going to, this segment that we got coming up, it's literally just getting a lot of the tough fights out the way. Or at least some of the bosses out the way. So let's see, do we get that trio perfect? Ooh, the trio was deep in the deck. Okay. So this is Ken. Ken is the leader of the Fire Club. As you met, are you kidding me? The trio was one of our prize cards, so it ultimately didn't matter. So the trio, sorry, so Ken is the leader of the Fire Club. You kind of notice he's got a lot of Pokemon that are not fire types, Jigglypuff, Tauros, and it is quite strange sometimes seeing. Let's click right there. Meant to go for Earthquake instead of Slash. And we essentially got this fight won. There's almost nothing that... there's hardly anything that Ken can do now that we got the Earthquake spammer of this run basically out in the field. And the reason why he's basically untouchable in a speed run is because Earthquake will KO in one attack almost every single Pokemon that we'll encounter in the run. If it resists, then okay, then it'll take you 2 turns, maybe 3 at best in order to get that KO. And the trio is just an absolute beast, which is why we prioritize hopefully getting those Coliseum packs to get as many Duck Trios as we want, and as well doing as that mail manipulation that I was doing at the very start of the run, just so that we can hopefully get another Duck Trio. And we have not gotten another Duck Trio since then, so it is actually very fortunate that I was able to snatch that second one, because otherwise this portion of the run would have been much more difficult to deal with.
It's pretty amazing to me that like the amount of situations that you just look at and immediately know I have to reset like that.
Yeah, it was like, oh cool, oh hey, that's Jinx, bye.
Do you just like from experience, or like just knowing all these different combinations that are just like, this ain't it, Chief, I'm out?
Essentially that. A lot of times when you're not in non-boss fights, you normally reset if you're opening, if the very first turn you see, oh, there's 3 Pokemon that my opponent has set up, and you only got the one. More often than not, that's usually an indicator. Okay, maybe I'll reset. Maybe I don't want to deal with. Maybe I don't want that smoke. So this is one of those fights that is potentially very reset heavy. Stephanie, she has one of the most annoying combinations of cards in the entire game. In Licky Tongue, which can paralyze you after you sneak the last couple of turns. Let's see. Do we get this win? Not, yes, we do. Perfect. And KO Licky Tongue in one go.
Are like a lot of these, like, I'm resetting the fight, is it like a combination of I will lose or this will just be ridiculously slow, or like some combo of both, if that makes sense?
Usually a combo of both. More often than not, I would say it's a losing. Like if I can tell, like this is likely going to lose me the fight, I'm not even gonna bother. Let's see right here. What do we have? Kingxion, Abra, Mr. Mime. Okay. Tentatively gonna keep this going because this could potentially be scary depending on how the Murray sets things up. That Abra is potentially scary. Now you may be thinking to yourself, wait a minute. Hitmonchan is weak to Psychic. Why is Hitmonchan here against the Psychic leader? This is why. Mr. Mime. So the way Mr. Mime works is that it has a very unique ability where any attack that does more than 20 damage, it will automatically nullify it and turns to 0. Diglett can do... Ooh, wait. This is good. Perfect. This isn't... I think that's maybe my best ever Murray fight. Or one of my best ever Murray fights. Wow, that was unbelievably quick. So Diglett can do 10 damage with Dig or 30 damage with Mud Slap. 30 damage on Mr. Mime would automatically turn to 0. But it would take 4 turns at most to get rid of Mr. Mime with just the trio. And so what we do is we bring in Hitmonchan as basically our ringer for that fight, because there's actually this very special quirk with Murray when it comes to having to you, the player, having Pokemon that is weak to Psychic, is that if able to, the AI will almost always opt in at the earliest convenience to switch whatever Pokemon they have. Like if they had Kangaskhan or Chansey, into Abra or Mr. Mime to go up against that Hitmonchan, regardless of whether or not that Pokemon is even ready to actually attack. So what you see more often than not is that the AI will blindly attack the AI, or blindly bring out the Pokemon to combat. Let's see. I'm gonna gust into this Hitmonchan. That's a bigger threat. It will bring out, so for example, Abra or Mr. Mime, even though it might not be fully ready to attack. And it will just lose because Murray didn't do a good job setting up. And that's a fun little like quirk with the AI that we like to exploit. Even though this game, a lot of it is RNG dependent in terms of coin flips or what your opponent starts out with. The fact of the matter is, this game has a lot of potential for the player to kind of exploit things in terms of, okay, I know the AI usually has a tendency to do this, so I'm gonna do this other thing to try to exploit that behavior in my way. And so that's kind of what we do with Murray. The old strat with combating Mr. Mime is to actually go with Rattata. Rattata completely walls Mr. Mime. Problem is, Rattata won't do anything that isn't, can hardly do anything on almost any other Pokemon. So we go for Hitmonchan just to go for like a slightly riskier strat. And actually this is an example of a promo card. Very few of them, like 24 of them in the entire game. We go for this Mewtwo because there's 2 fights potentially that we're going to need it. That's actually a reward for actually beating Murray. The old man is like, oh, Murray's so arrogant. I want to see someone whoop his butt in a children's card game. And so that's what we did. We whooped his butt in a children's card game, and we get rewarded with Mewtwo. So, oh, and by the way, and Mewtwo is like one of those cards that I mentioned that Mewtwo is one of those cards where it's also a basic. By the way, every legendary Pokemon is quote unquote a basic Pokemon, so you can play it immediately. There's no like special unique thing that you have to do in order to play it. No, you can play whenever you want.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not? You can use Mewtwo. And Mewtwo is pretty good for the most part in some fights. There's 2 fights in particular that I like using Mewtwo. And if you get the setup right with Mewtwo, it's essentially an auto-win. Without a doubt. Now, this is the second fight. The first NPC being Aaron. Let's see. Am I in trouble? I could be in trouble. This might be a reset. I'm gonna do build one more time. Yeah, it's a reset. I don't build. Yeah. So this is Aaron. Aaron's another optional fight in this game. I have a feeling a lot of people have never seen this NPC before because they never bothered going to the other room. That's a 4 versus 1. Aaron can be very annoying. So he basically serves as kind of like a player practice for the player, and he has 3 unique decks. Now, remember when I said at the very start that there is special wording with how this category is ruled? This is another fight. Aaron is 1 NPC, but you fight him 3 times because he can... Ooh. So okay. All right. No, we're good. This was potentially a problem, but not anymore.
Are all 3 of his decks like super hard too, or is it like some are easy, a little bit like kind of mixed difficulty?
I would say mixed difficulty. The gimmick with Aaron's 3 decks is the fact that they're all different types. It's one deck is of 1 type, one deck is of 2 different types, another deck is of 2 different types, and the third deck is of 2 different types. So kind of game planning to have one deck that's an all-encompassing strategy against Aaron can be really annoying. He's usually not super difficult, but he can be pretty annoying if the RNG does not fall into your favor. And we've been able to sort of ascertain that a full deck trio deck, same with so many fights in this game, is arguably the best answer with this deck. Even this one, which is, I would argue, the scariest of Aaron's decks, especially for the trio. This is his Grass and Psychic deck. So of course you would see a Farfetch'd in there. No, that's not. And the real boss fight, the real hard part of fighting Aaron is his menuing. It's because you actually have to do 2 different inputs to actually do the fight. You actually have to do like, oh, you want to fight Aaron? Okay, what deck you want to fight him? Oh, are you sure you want to fight him? And so we butt match and something we say no, and it's like, oh, come on. We don't want to, I misclicked. So it's all a matter of, let me see if this Weedle could potentially knock us out. Okay, we are safe for now. Thankfully, we have another potion, so we're back at full health. And he doesn't add anything else to the deck. I think I have a full heal, so we actually win this one. This was a relatively painless Aaron segment, because funny enough, actually yesterday, I want to say, or 2 days ago during practice, normally beating Aaron can take like 4.5 minutes. It took me 9 minutes to beat Aaron. So I'm glad we got through it in under 5 minutes. So now here comes the Challenge Cup. One of the fan favorite aspects of the game. It's mini knockout tournament where you have to fight 3 trainers in order to win. All of these trainers are fights that or all of these trainers are NPC that you can encounter normally, especially in the first 2 rounds. But the 3rd round is against our rival Ronald in a very special, unique deck that he only has for this Challenge Cup. And Ronald is the other fight where we're like, okay, we need to fight every single unique deck in the game. And that's why I emphasize the unique deck aspect. So, okay, are we good? Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah, we are good.
Another nice thing about the Challenge Cup here is one of the best pieces of music in the game on the overworld there.
Oh yeah, everybody loves, like, a lot of times when people on stream hear the Challenge Cup music, everybody's like, oh, this is awesome, love the Challenge Cup music. And we are, this is in trouble. Likely not. Do I want to... Oh, no, we're good. Okay. I was worried for a quick second whether or not this fight could be would be longer, but no, we're all good. Thing about this, the Challenge Cup, is that all fights, for some reason, has the boss music in the first 2 rounds, even though it's against regular NPC and they don't have the boss AI behavior. But also, every fight is 4 prizes, whereas Matthew... Do I wanna... Yeah, let's edit the deck, just to be on the safe side. Every fight in the Challenge Cup is 4 prizes long. So you could run into a scenario where you will run into a fight where if you duel that person in the overworld, it's likely a like you could encounter like a 2 or 3 prize fight needed to win, but because in the Challenge Cup every fight is 4 prizes, it could be a little bit more problematic. Oh, this is not problematic at all. Oh, we are good. We already fought Matthew once, so this is a good time if there's any messages or anything our lovely host would like to say.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, Ronald's theme is the better music. Second off, we have a donation from Prostitutes who sent in $10 and said, GMG and Complete-a-thon do amazing things, and we can't get enough. So thank you so much, Prostitutes, for that $10 donation, getting us $10 closer to that milestone incentive of $1,510 we need to hit to see Mew get caught tomorrow during the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green run. So remember to get those donations in at !donate in chat for the Tiltify link, and all of that goes towards the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund.
All right, well, good news, Beth. We will actually hear Ronald's theme again, because we're about to fight him. Now, here's the thing about Ronald. in the Challenge Cup. This is the hardest version of this fight in the entire game. I'm not even kidding. Ronald, this is the one deck where Ronald actually makes a competent, annoying deck in terms of the speed run. It's not perfect, but it's something. Now, do I have a Pokeball? Yes, I do. We are resetting that turn. So Ronald has three main threats actually. He's got Muck, Scyther, and okay, that's still a Tails. Muck, Scyther, and Magmar. Now, there's two versions of Magmar in this game. Though you see the Muck there, that could be a problem. I don't think so. But there's two versions of Magmar in this game. One that we all like to see. Ah, this is beautiful. Actually, I'm gonna reset. Because now that we know what the... Oh, he set up a Muck with nothing to attack with. So we got this in the bag. So he's got Muck, he's got Scyther, as you're seeing right now. And he's also got Magmar. The Magmar that he has is a 70 HP Magmar, where it has that same attack that Horsey has, Smokescreen, where all Magmar will do, where you get hit with 10 damage, and then you actually have to, the following turn, flip coin in order to be able to attack. And we have not seen it, but for a while, so the cool thing about this category is that this is still very much in its infancy. We are still learning new things and figuring things out in terms of, okay, what's the optimal strategy for certain fights, or for some of the newer fights. And one thing that I have come to learn is that brute forcing this with a Duck Trio deck doesn't really work out that well, because Diglett only has 30 HP. It's already frail enough. And the problem with Duck Trios is that Scyther resists fighting, so it can be a little bit annoying. And also, Scyther has the potential to one-shot the trio. Whereas with Dugong could potentially be a little slower, but way more consistent in my discovery just the last 2 days. I've been practicing with a Duck Trio strategy, with a Dugong strategy in early sample size. The small sample size that I've experimented with has actually worked pretty darn well. So I'm very happy with this, with how this Challenge Cup version of Ronald has turned out. This is also the third reason why All Battles is worded the way it is in its official rule set. Imakuni
hype.
Yeah, Imakuni. Okay. I want you guys to read this. I know we're slowing down the speed run, but this is Imakuni's ace card. His ace. Your active Pokemon is now confused. Imakuni wants you to play him as a basic Pokemon, but you can't. Mysterious creature not listed in the Pokedex. He asks kids around the world, who is cuter, Pikachu or me? You want to see the broken ability Imakuni has? Broken for us because he confuses his own Pokemon. So now, the way confusion works, you flip a coin, if it lands tails, guess what? Psyduck now gets dealt with 20 damage. That's what the signature ace card of this deck does. It is...
Imakuni's AI will immediately play that card if he draws it, by the way.
Yes. It is absolutely beautiful how this game, how the Imakuni category, the Imakuni fight goes sometimes. And there is a, do I want to? You know what? I'll risk it. There's no way Imakuni's gonna get 4 straight heads, right? Yeah, see? I was testing karma for a quick second, and thankfully my hubris remains unchallenged. But yeah, so the thing with Imakuni is, if you beat him 3 times, he will give you that Imakuni card as a special promo card. And which has
4 times.
What was that?
Isn't it 4 times?
No, it's 3 times.
Okay.
So
not sure why I thought 4.
Yeah, if you want to fight him 4 times, go ahead. But yes, doing this has basically given birth to the Imakuni percent meme category, where it's literally just fight Imakuni 3 times. I am currently 4th on the leaderboard in that category. It's a very fun category. If you do it, if you get really lucky, you can beat the game. You can beat Imakuni percent in less than 5 minutes with an Electabuzz strategy. I went for Abra because Abra has a lot of high damage potential that Electabuzz usually doesn't. But the big thing is we gotta make sure that we can draw the Kadabra, which we did. Let's see. Are we in trouble? Yeah, good for a reset. So, and naturally fits nicely into this route where we are able to go for an all Kadabra strategy for the next couple of fights, of which Imikuni is the first one. Let me see if we can get that coin flip, land tails. No. So here's a neat little trick. So we saw that coin flip landed tails. Now, what the AI will do, she's got a coin flip that will land. Of course, the AI will cheat sometimes. Normally, that is meant to be a tails. But now we are... Okay, I'm actually going to do something very interesting. I'm actually going to use a second Abra as a sacrifice to set up the Abra that just got attacked, because it already has a... an energy attached to it, so I don't want to waste that. And we basically have our winning strategy right now. So this is Brittany. Interesting thing about Brittany is that Brittany has the most amount of basic Pokemon, at least in the any percent route. I don't remember if that's the case in all battles. I haven't looked too deep into it, but the thing is, she's got one of every type in this game, which is, it's just so annoying. Okay, I'm actually going to waste a turn in healing because I don't feel great about having only 20 HP. And
so
probably with that continued duel thing, the AI probably just had a case where it consumed an RNG value.
That is true. Yes. So a lot of times the RNG just it's not perfect, but a lot of times we can kind of predict, okay, if coin flip land this way, if we reset and pass turn, we basically pass off that coin flip result onto the next opponent. However, there are some instances where it is, for lack of a better term, it re-rolls the RNG and makes the coin flip it makes the coin flip random again. So something, and we can use also that knowledge to our advantage in terms of, oh hey, we have a coin flip that is gonna go tails, but we have something like a Pokeball that can potentially waste away that coin flip and just re-rolls the coin flip RNG again. So, oh yeah, and this is another really cool thing. This is Rick. He is the leader of the Science Club. You heard me right. He is the leader of the Science Club. Anyone want to guess as to what type science is? Because I sure can't.
Is it science?
Hey, you got it right. Science is science.
Also, wait. So he's just playing Mewtwo.
Yes.
Nice. Do you get Mewtwo from this fight?
No.
That'd be too nice.
Actually, I don't. I think you do like like the regular non-promo version of Mewtwo, which is not great. It's not a good card, if I'm actually being honest. It's actually not good. The promo version of Mewtwo is far stronger. It has way higher... it technically... the weaker Mewtwo technically has higher damage potential, I believe. But the setup to that higher damage potential is... it's potentially infuriatingly long. So it's better to go with the promo version of Mewtwo because it's so much better. This could be... Oh, never mind. We win. Evolving actually cost him the fight, believe it or not.
Nice. How does the how does a Kadabra deck sort of stack up against the mono promo Mewtwo deck? In your opinion?
That was the first fight of the game. This is the one game where you would see like what a level 9 Abra beat one shot a Mewtwo. So I would say it stacks up pretty well. The funny thing is, Rick's AI is strange in the sense that it doesn't really prioritize setting up the Mewtwo as one would think. So it is kind of funny seeing like bring out that Mewtwo and then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, it's really not going to do anything. It's really there more as a meat shield, which is a really strange thing to say for Mewtwo. And it's like, wait a minute, I got Mewtwo. You know what? Maybe I should set up this Grimer. Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. I'll set up Grimer instead of Mewtwo.
I keep noticing as well, like towards the bottom, it's like the AI, like for example, David is thinking, is that like an RNG timer or like amount of times, or is that just kind of endemic to the game?
I would say it's kind of endemic. It really doesn't do anything per se. Ah, perfect. Take out the pins right now.
It just sits on that screen for effect between actions that the AI.
So by the way, David, it may not have been noticeable at first. That was David's Nidoran deck. It's a deck fully centered around Nidoran with special guests, Coughing and Pinsir. You know, Nidoran. So now, and by the way, he's also an optional fight. The only mandatory fight in this game is actually just the Mewtwo. I'm sorry, not Mewtwo. The only mandatory fight is, I'm actually resetting this one. I don't like the opening hand, don't like being poisoned on the first turn. Is Joseph, who we fought all the way at the very start of the game. Or not the very start, like, I would say that was like 40 minutes ago? Something like that? It was like 40 minutes ago. So let's see. We have energy removal. And this is what makes this version of Mewtwo, the promo Mewtwo, pretty strong. So it has an ability where it has an attack where you can recover energy cards from your discard pile, which basically gives you the ability to attack on your second turn as opposed to just trying to manually set up your Mewtwo to attack on turn 3. And we have a lot of cards that basically just discards cards from our hand. So we basically kind of use that to our advantage to set up Mewtwo in a way where we can attack on turn 2. And once that happens, you're kind of off to the races. This is what I was talking about when I say Mewtwo's virtue is almost unstoppable in the right setup. I'm actually going to reset because that Hitmonchan is scary, and we're going to be with, at best, 30 HP for the rest of the fight against Mitch, who is our fighting leader. And this is beautiful.
Some of the club masters have special conditions for you to be able to fight them. In this case, it was talking to him, then beating the 3 minions scattered around the rest of the world. The good thing that those minions don't obey the first rule of Fighting Club.
If anything, so it's funny. It's funny because you have technically 2 flags in order to fight Mitch. You have to talk to Mitch first before you get to actually fight the trainers, before you get to fight Mitch. So it's really funny. Even the leader doesn't obey the first rule of Fight Club. Just some random guy just walks into your dojo and is like, oh hey, I got some kids all over the map. Fight them first. Okay, so now we're kind of going to the home straight. Wow, this is unlucky. Wow, this is really unlucky. I have no Ponytas. That is... Maybe it only ever happened like... This could slow things down quite a bit. So, the intended strategy with these next 4 fights is to have Magmar and Ponyta basically be in a tandem where you have the potential to win on turn 1 almost all of these fights, or you have the potential to do a ton of damage and just virtually be unstoppable. Problem here is that I have no Ponyta. So the turn 1, so we cannot win any of these fights on turn 1. It's impossible. Magma requires 2 fighting energy. 2 fire energy in order to even attack. And there's no like special gimmick like with Mewtwo. Ooh, this could be. Oh my god! What?
Oh my.
Okay. This is fine. This is fine. I think we're still good. It may look scary. Also, this has never happened to me. I've never seen Robert evolve twice, but we're fine.
Well, to be fair, he used a breed.
What are the odds of like getting in this situation, like not getting the Pokemon you need? Like, is this like a crazy like super rare occurrence?
It depends on what you're looking for, but with Ponyta's case, I think this is. By the way, for context, I've speedrun this game, completed runs of this game. Maybe I don't know if it's in the thousands, but it's in several hundreds. Not having Ponyta at this stage has maybe only ever occurred like enough times where I can count on one hand. In fact, it's maybe months.
That marathon luck.
That marathon luck, of course. But thankfully, Magmar is here to save the day.
Just for a little bit extra on how unlucky that is, Ponyta is a common card.
Yeah, it like one of the most common cards you likely will encounter.
That is insane.
Yeah, but hey, thankfully we were able to get this one and get at least the first 2 fights of this portion of the run out the bag. Really, really happy. Because oh boy, that could have been real risky. It could have been real dangerous. But let's see, what do we have? We're actually nearing the home stretch. We're actually getting close to the home stretch of the run, believe it or not. We only have 5 fights left before we get to challenge the Pokemon Dome. Believe it or not. And we're now actually fighting proper grass types. Yeah, so nothing special about this fight. It's just the only thing you gotta worry about is the Licky Tongue that she randomly has in her deck. But other than that, it looks like that it is. Oh no, it's fine. We actually have to find the club master of this deck, of this club, where basically we have to fight all 3 of the trainers, and then they'll tell us, oh, hey, the club master is actually not here. You're gonna have to find her. But luckily, she's always in the same spot, so while we are looking for her in this remote house all the way at the top left of the map, another good time for any messages or anything our lovely host wants to say. Or I guess while we have that sorted out. Okay, so this is Nikki. The gimmick with Nikki is a lot of statuses. Status is a big thing here with this fight, and she will almost always have Oddish in the deck. And thankfully, she missed both of her paralysis checks. So I am going to. So we are off to the races. Hopefully, execute. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Execute has the potential to put us to sleep, as you kind of saw already. There's the Bulbasaur, can do 20 damage, but we are completely fine. This is a. Okay, no, we are fine. Normally, we could even have set things up a little bit better for us if we had Ponyta and we had the first turn and ooh, okay, I think we have full heal, so I think we're fine. Yes, we do. Okay, so Executor actually is not a threat at all. Executor has a move that's called Big Explosion that hold on. this Bulbasaur can potentially take us out right now. If I don't do anything, if I don't do something right now. We might. Nope, never mind. We're crystal clear. So, okay, that was potentially scary. So, Bulbasaur can attack next turn, and it's gonna knock Magmar out. But thankfully, we are actually completely fine.
Throwing us for a loop there.
Yeah, no, I was like, wait a minute. Like, I'm doing the mental map in my head. I'm like, ooh, wait, are we in trouble? Are we in potential trouble?
Look at that full deck.
Oh yeah, we can challenge the Grandmasters. After a slight detour into the Fire Club, but we still have not fought the Fire Club trainers yet. We have not fought a single one yet. Don't worry. So,
You got their leader though, right? So it's
oh yeah. So let's see. We got 2 Seals and 4 Dugons. Kind of an awkward ratio of Seals and Dugons, but I would much rather have 2 Seals and 4 Dugongs than 4 Seals and 2 Dugongs. So I'm fine with this. This is totally fine with me. Now can get into some interesting concepts with the fire deck. John has an anger deck. That's literally what the deck is called. Ooh. Well, actually, could this be oh no. Yeah, no, we're resetting. Yeah, the anger deck is essentially Pokemon that are angry, like Tauros and I'm blinking on what's another Growl. Well, Growlithe itself is not angry, but Arcanine, it could look a little angry, not exactly displaying a ton of anger, but kind of. Let's see. Ooh, you know what? I could have actually potentially won this right now if, yeah. Okay. I did not notice the, because I'm menuing so fast, I had plus power and defend. Ooh, okay. Okay. I had plus power and item finder, which would have brought me back the plus power for turn 2, but that's fine. I'll take a turn 3 win. This is usually actually one of the more annoying optional fights in all battles because he can stack the bench with a lot of non-fire type Pokemon, and thankfully that is not the case. So hopefully, John subdued relatively easy. His anger has been I don't know what would you call it? Like, his anger has been silenced, or I don't know what the proper term is. So yeah, so now this is the one and only true fire deck that you'll encounter throughout this run. So not much to it. I don't know if Steph is good to do a read.
Yes, hello, I'm back and no longer hardware muted. What's up? I wanted to remind everyone again about that incentive coming up tomorrow for Fire Red Leaf Green, so get those donations in order to see that Mew catch. But also wanted to remind everyone, since we are a little over halfway through the run, why we are here at Completeathon 2024, which is to raise money for the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund. In 2014, Girls Make Games was founded in order to provide girls with the space and resources to explore the world of gaming and help them pursue careers in game development. So the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund helps fund a ton of their programs, including mentorship programs and their summer camp that they run every year. So that's what all of these donations go towards. So get those donations in, and thank you all so much to everyone who's donated so far.
All right. I don't know what happened. I thought I had this one, and then all of a sudden, I just didn't. I think I may have a momentary lapse. This category can be a little bit mentally draining, so I don't know what. I think I may have missed a turn where I didn't attack, and I think that's what happened. And also, we were very unlucky in terms of having a Magmar with a plus power, which knocked out our seal, which. It is fine. That's fine.
What do you mean? This all looks and sounds very simple.
Okay, so now we got our Dewgong. Now we have our ace in the hole. And thankfully we are... okay, now we got this fight in the bag. A little bit strange how this fight kind of went, but that's fine. That's fine. That's totally not a potential foreshadowing for the hardest fights in the game that we got coming up. Okay. One more fight. We only have one more fight before we challenge the Pokemon Dome. And we have a real good chance of breaking the marathon record of this category that has only had one other showcase. But we have a pretty good chance of breaking that record set by me like 2 weeks ago. Let's see. Are we? No, we're good. For now, we are good. Jonathan is weird because Jonathan has a... Let's see. Jonathan has a reshuffle deck, but most of his Pokemon don't have the ability to, like, shuffle the deck or anything of the sorts. So it's a little bit bizarre, but... which actually kind of makes fighting this, fighting him a little bit more tricky, because he doesn't have a ton of Fire-type Pokemon. A lot of it, he actually has a lot of, colorless Pokemon, strangely enough. Which does mean that Pokemon like Dugong, sometimes they don't get a chance to one-shot it, especially if you allow Pidgey to evolve into Pidgeotto. But thankfully, we're fine. We're fine. Aside from that weird Adam fight where I think my brain just had a glitch, that was actually a relatively tame Fire Clip segment. So now we can finally start the Fire Clips, the Grandmaster. So this is this game's version of the Elite Four. Stump alluded to this very early on, but remember when we said Boss AI will always make sure that the bosses have two basics. In most cases, however, in the event that they have their legendary ace card in the opening hand and only have one other basic, they will actually not play that legendary ace in the card, because all of these cards have a unique ability. They have a unique ability that can only be played at the start of the once the duel has actually begun proper, and you can't have that without... dang it. That is fine. It got switched. So now we have to deal with Smokescreen. And this is the Fossil Magmar I was referring to earlier, where it gets Smokescreen and we have to flip a coin just to be able to do an attack. But thankfully, we got out of it. She may have another one, but thankfully, we have not seen that yet. So I feel pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna guess and win. A lot of times when the AI sets up a Pokemon on the bench like that, more often than not, that means they have the evolution already in tow. So now we are... actually done. Wow, this is such a really good Courtney fight. We never actually got to see her actual ace, which is Legendary Moltres. All of these ace cards that you see from here on out, they are actually cards never printed in the game. And hold on. That is not what I want to do. I do not want to go into the rest of the run with Dugong. That is a very, very bad idea. But yeah, so all of these cards, all of these ace cards that we're going to see from here around, they have actually never been printed, because some of these have abilities that account for a level of RNG the game was never meant to have. Especially this one, Steve. Steve has a legendary Zapdos. Once it is played, it will do 30 damage to any one random Pokemon in the game that's out on the field. Any single one of them. Ooh, okay.
On either side.
Yeah, on either side. So you could see a scenario where he actually hurts his own Pokemon, which is actually really funny. I was kind of doing some mental thinking. Okay, this is kind of the annoying thing. All right, so this Zapdos is actually really threatening, because this Zapdos has the potential to one-shot the trio, because it has a move that does 100 damage. But no, never mind. We're fine. This Zapdos is toast. This is not the Zapdos I was talking about. This is the base set Zapdos that many kids had back in the day, including myself. I used to own this card. Ooh. Do we have a full heal to get out of paralysis? Oh, we drew it right now. Heart of the cards, baby.
Nice. Also, if anyone noticed in the last fight that the Moltres didn't take double damage from the Dugong, none of the legendaries have a weakness in this game.
None of them. And ironically enough, the trio is our ace. But the trio is fighting, and every single one of these legendary cards actually resist fighting. But it is our best and most consistent answer to handling these legendary cards that we have not seen yet. That is a little strange that we have not seen the cards yet. We'll more than likely see it here. This is Jack. This is the hardest fight in the game. I'm not even kidding. Jack has Articuno in all water deck, except for that except for the Diglett. Don't worry about it. For the Ditto. So he has, and that, by the way, that Articuno, that is not the Articuno that we were referring to. Let's see. Is Articuno? No, we're good. Okay, Articuno's still not in a position to attack. He needs three energies to be able to attack. Oh, he's not even setting up. That is great news for us. That is fantastic news for us. So Jack has every single annoying trait in for a speed runner to just absolutely rage against. He's got tanks in Lapras and Chansey. He's got a Dugong that has high damage potential. Okay. This is fine. Yeah, no, this is fine. This is fine. It's gonna go into self-preservation mode, as I alluded to earlier. Yeah, he could actually have set himself up to win in 2 turns, but because of the fact that we basically have to... Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay. This is interesting. Okay, I think I know how we're gonna win this. Do we have a defender and the... Wait, that's 1, 2... Okay.
Defender is in oak range.
Defender is in oak range, but we're still going to get KO'd. So, but here's what we can do. We can get a potion and then get the defender out. And now we will not get KO'd. I think we could have energy removal, but I didn't want to run the risk of the AI being like, oh, I can find a way to manipulate this and get in KO range, and we are fine. Okay, no, we're fine. I don't think Jack will have a third Dugong. It's extremely weird for him to have even one out in a duel. And also, where are all of these ace cards I keep hyping up? The legendary ace Articuno that Jack has, it only once it's played onto the field, flip a coin, and if it lands heads, your opponent is automatically paralyzed, and you can still attack. That does not end your turn. You can still attack with your opponent being paralyzed. So it can be really, really annoying. So that's a coin flips going tails. So I'm just gonna hold that off for a little bit.
There are a few better feelings in running this game than having a set up Doug Trio and one-shotting a Chansey from nothing.
Oh yeah, it really is. It's so good. Chansey, we have not seen it yet, I don't think, but Chansey has a move called Scrunch. That basically... What was that?
You one-shotted a Chansey from 0 last battle.
That's right. So the thing with Chansey is that... Oh, come on. Yes, perfect. Okay, we win. Oh, it was one of the last cards in our deck, of course. We were never going to draw it naturally. So, yeah, so Chansey has a move called Scrunch, where if you flip a coin and it lands heads, Chansey is immune to all damage and status effects for the remainder of the turn. Ooh, I do not like that. So, I think we have an energy removal. We do. So, I'm just going to get rid of the energy removal, and that will prevent the Dragonair from showing up, but that Dragonair is very that Dratini is very annoying, and Jack is really setting up for that Dragonair. Thankfully, we have all the cards in the world to be able to deal with it. So
yeah, that Dragonair is more annoying than Dragonite, honestly. Dragonite is the legendary in this, but it's a Stage 2 evolution, so it's useless pretty much.
All right, as if it wasn't made abundantly clear, Ronald is our final challenge. I mean, that's essentially card game version of Pokemon Red and Blue. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, this is really good. Fantastic start. This is fantastic start. Okay.
Oh.
Here's the thing. Ronald, oh, there we go. There's the legendary Moltres that we saw. As if it made abundantly clear right now, Ronald has 2 copies of every single card of every single legendary ace in the game. You kind of go along with the whatchamacallit, the legendary. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Here's where. Okay. I think I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna gust into the Vaporeon. That way it'll prevent Ronald from trying to attack it, at least for now. And now we gotta handle Moltres. Okay. You're gonna see something really funny. Oh, this could be. Okay, no, this actually no. It's not a problem, but it could potentially put us in a slightly risky scenario, depending on how things go. So the funny thing about Ronald, remember what I said at the very start of the when we first encountered him, is that perfect Hyper Beam. That is beautiful. Hyper Beam got nerfed in this game. It only does 20 damage, and you take away one of your opponent's energy cards. So this functions as an energy removal that does 20 damage. But I knew ahead of time that Ronald might go for that, so I just went ahead and boom. We're actually gonna beat him fairly soon. Ronald has Zapdos and Articuno and Dragonair and also Moltres. Articuno and Zapdos require water and lightning energy respectively in order to attack. Guess who didn't have the foresight to include to not include that in their decks? Ronald. Think about it. Need you guys to think about it real carefully. Ronald has. Oh wait, I meant to go for. That's fine. Ronald only has fire energy. Zapdos can't attack with fire energy. Articuno cannot attack with fire energy. Articuno and Zapdos literally cannot do anything once they are placed on the field. It is an amazing case study in how not to construct a winning deck. And because of that, we are actually we basically got to beat him easily, and we are actually about to come up on time very, very soon, in just a few seconds. So yeah, that was the Articuno, that was the Zapdos. Ronald can never attack with them because he doesn't have the necessary energies to do it, even though he was the one that constructed this deck. Okay, we're coming up time in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time.
GG.
Okay. Wow. What? Yeah, so... by the way, marathon PB by over 3 minutes, so that is...
very nice.
Nice.
Very, very happy with that. So yeah, so that's the fun little quirk about Ronald. Ronald, half of his aces can't actually attack. It is one of the most hilarious things in this run that people who play this game casually may not have ever realized, that they can't attack. Like, if you play this game casually, fight Ronald and encounter that Zapdos and Articuno once they're placed on the field. I can bet you $1 million they will never actually attack with their intended attack. It can't happen. It's absurdly bizarre, but they still have their Pokemon powers that can paralyze, inflict 30 damage, which does get annoying, and having 2 copies of that can also be really, really annoying. This was a weird Pokemon Dome run because we only got to see the aces once. We only got to see Moltres Zone. We didn't get to see any of the other ones in battle, which is a little bit bizarre. Funny enough, the last time this game was run in a marathon, we actually didn't get to see any of the aces. It was a legendary free run at the Dome, which I can't even say that's ever happened to me before. So anyway, this is Pokemon TCG. It is a brand new category, the All Battles category, because so a little bit of backstory. I had always wanted this game to have a second completionist category. We actually have another completionist category called all cards, which is get every single card in the game, which is fun, but it does get to a point where you're gonna be just redoing the same fights over and over again just to have like good RNG with your booster packs. So I wanted to have something a little bit different in terms of having something of a completionist type of category. And this is, I can't take full credit of this category existing because the idea of how routing out fighting every single trainer has kind of existed like in theory and for quite some time. But it wasn't until like last year where I actually put my foot down and was like, no, we're actually gonna get this, turn this into a real category. And I essentially like spearheaded the campaign, for lack of a better word, into creating all battles as a category, and it got made official in May, I believe. And I used to be the world record holder. My PB is 1 hour and 26 minutes. That has been surpassed by Welsh RTA. Shoutouts to Welsh RTA for one of the best runners in this game. And shoutouts to the entire Pokemon TCG speedrunning community. It is a niche but very lovely bunch. Stump is one of them. Thank you, Stump, for being here. He was also my commentator for my very first in-person run, in-person marathon run of this game. And shoutouts to a lot of the great runners of this game who paved the way for me being in this position in the first place. AJ, Welsh RTA, Pinecone 606, Frank C, all the top runners. Skate Man, who actually was responsible for giving me the specific frames to be able to get the trio at the start of the run. So anyway, any last comments from either Stump or Nervy?
Stump, feel free to go first.
Hey, well, nice. Let's see this. I hadn't actually watched this particular category before, so many of the battles were that you don't do in any of the other ones are new to me. So it was interesting to see that.
Yeah, I was not prepared for the depth that we were about to jump into here. It was an absolute pleasure to watch you do this. Very clear that you have put an enormous amount of time into this, just in terms of just sheer game knowledge. It was truly incredible to watch. Well done.
I appreciate it. And yeah, no, this category does require an extensive amount of research just to be able to even attempt a run, just because of how so many different decks are in this game. But yeah, anyway, that is the run. Thank you, Nervy. Thank you, Stump. Thank you, Spev, for being such a wonderful host. And everybody go check out the rest of the runs this marathon has to offer. And hopefully we get some more donations for Girls Make Games. Yes. Really hoping we get to our goal. We've already raised so much money, so I'm really hopeful for that we can continue those donations.
Thanks for having me on.
Great. And with that, I'm toronite, and this is Pokemon TCG All Battles, and we will see you in the next one.
let's give it up one more time and give one more thank you to Toronite for showing off that pretty much brand new category for Pokemon trading card game. I personally had no idea that category was so new. I think he had mentioned that it was just started being routed earlier this year in May, so it was an absolute treat to get to see that, and I'm so excited to see how that category evolves over the next coming years, and hopefully we'll get to see it at another marathon sometime soon and just see all of the optimizations that they will make over the course of the next few months and years. So thank you so much once more for that incredible run, Toronite. That was such a treat to watch. Coming up next, we've got Sable, all masks. But before that, I'd like to remind you all why we are all here and what we are raising money for here at Completeathon 2024. Completeathon 2024 is supporting the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund. Girls Make Games believes in providing every girl and woman with the opportunity to discover their potential and talents through gaming and game development. With your donations, you're able to contribute directly to the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund that provides girls and women with the resources and opportunities to pursue careers in gaming through GMG's many programs such as their 2024 college scholarships, summer camp scholarships, and the new mentorship and internship programs launching later this year. So once again, thank you to everyone who has donated so far during Completeathon 2024 for the Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund. We have raised $1,060.77 so far, which is absolutely incredible. So thank you again to everyone. And also, even if you aren't able to donate, thank you all so much for just being here, hanging out, and watching the marathon. We would not be here without everyone participating, everyone behind the scenes, and all of the wonderful, wonderful viewers. So thank you all so much again. All right, this has been my time on the host mic for this event, so I will be handing it over to JD Puppy, who's going to hang out with y'all for the next couple of runs. So thank you all again so much for having me. I've been Speff, and now I'll hand it off to JD Puppy.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Speff. And let's give it up for Speff and everybody on the team. So many volunteers here working hard behind the scenes to help make Completeathon a live success all throughout. Hey everybody, my name is JD Puppy and I will be your host for the next couple of runs. As Beth had mentioned, we do have Sable coming up where Rip WSB will show off his all masks run later this evening. And then we will have Derek Lander coming by with Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage 100%. And then wrapping up the night, we've got Kirby Squeaks God by Lonely, which will be a super amazing run. As mentioned, use the QR code on the screen to be able to help support Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund, which we've been supporting all week long. And if you're looking to donate, make sure to type !donate in the chat to get the link to the Tiltify page as well, where you could make a direct donation. We've got lots of amazing incentives and bid wars for you to choose from, so do make sure to get those donations in and assign them accordingly to help get them met. For example, when we hit $1,500 in advance of Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, we will be able to catch Mew. We want to see that happen. It's going to be such an awesome thing. But coming up, we got Sable, like I was mentioning. And by the end of the game, we're going to need to make some kind of choice of mask that will be worn. And so we have a 5-way poll bid war going on between the Sandworm mask, which currently has the lead at $35, the Hercules Beetle mask in second place at just $30, the Abexi mask at $25, and then we've got the Entertainer's mask and the Cartographer's mask that it's still just waiting for a little bit of love there. But these donations put forth towards Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund can help change the tide and help make that mask choice different by the end. So we'd love to go ahead and see it here. And if you've been enjoying yourself watching Completeathon, several members of the Completeathon team also work on staff for No Glitches Allowed, which is an event that features glitchless or no major glitches speedruns. This event typically takes place in the spring, so feel free to follow us here at twitch.tv/NoGlitchesAllowed and at NoGlitches on Twitter, as well as join our Discord for announcements so that you won't miss when our next event takes place. And if you are just tuning in this fine Friday evening, Complete-a-thon, which you're watching right now, is a charity event dedicated to completion of speedruns. This includes 100% all collectibles, or even categories where you collect all of a specific collectible, such as all red berries or all shrines, just to name a few. If you're interested in getting involved or finding out more, make sure to join our Discord and follow us on Twitter to get updates about future events. And once again, we are raising funds for Girls Make Games Scholarship Fund with a $2,000 goal for the weekend. We started up early on Tuesday with some amazing runs stretching out all throughout the week, every single day, showing off some amazing speed running. If you want to learn a little bit more about Girls Make Games, there are a couple of important statistics I'd love to share. While women make up nearly half of the gaming population, less than 24% of game developers in the US are women. Girls Make Games was created to address this gender gap and create a space for girls to explore the world of video games. To date, nearly 25,000 girls in 160 cities and 22 countries have accessed game dev workshops, summer camps, and tutorials. Girls Make Games published titles have been downloaded over 190,000 times on partner platforms like PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Creators Program, Steam, and Google Play. By inspiring girls to engage with Steam through the fun and creativity of game design, we're creating a world where girls have the chance to discover their potential through gaming and game dev. So let's give it up for Girls Make Games, and let's get those donations in for such an awesome cause.